Good morning, friends. It's Mr. Cortina here with your daily math. Today is Friday, April 3rd, and we are going to solve fraction word problems. This is going to be involving all the skills that we've learned from the past week, except we're going to be reading and marking up word problems. Materials you need are a pencil and a notebook or paper, and as always, pause the video if you need to catch up. Take a look at the symbols at the bottom of your page to know what you should be doing, when you should be doing it. Let's take a look at our target today. It says, I can solve fraction and mixed number word problems. Well, you guys all know how to solve problems. That means to answer. You know what fractions are now, and you also know what mixed numbers are, and you know what word problems are. So we're just combining all these elements to solve fraction word problems. Let's take a look at an example. We're going to solve word problems with fractions. What we need to remember is that we're using the same strategy we use to solve any word problem. We're going to start by marking it up, and we're going to draw a picture if we need to, or we're just going to solve using our equations. Let's look at an example. And we're going to read it first, and then you're going to go back and reread while you mark it up. It says, while exercising, Adam jogged 4 4/5 kilometers and walked 2 3/5 kilometers. What is the total distance he traveled? Okay, now I'm going to go back and mark up the problem. I'm going to underline actions, and I'm going to circle numbers with labels. I'm also going to underline the question we are answering. Say, while exercising, I'm going to underline that because that's what Adam was doing. He jogged 4 4/5 kilometers, and he walked, that's another action, 2 3/5 kilometers. What is the total distance he traveled? I'm going to underline that question, and I'm going to turn it into a title. So we're going to cross out the question words. And what we're looking to find out is total distance. So I'm just going to copy that down because that's what we're trying to figure out. We're going to underline our title. Okay, so now I'm going to write down what I know. If we're looking to find the total, we're going to write down our one number. We have 4 4/5. And we have 2 3/5. Okay, if we're looking to find the total exercise he did, are we going to add or subtract? Okay, we're going to add. So we're going to use what we know about adding mixed numbers and fractions to solve this problem. So we're going to start by separating our wholes and our fractions. So 4 4/5 is the same thing as 4 plus 4/5, and 2 3/5 is the same thing as 2 plus 3/5. Okay. So we're going to start by adding our whole numbers. We have 4 plus 2. Yeah, those are right up here. And we get a total of 6 wholes. Okay, now we're going to take our fractions, 4/5 and 3/5. We're still adding because we're combining the total distance. And when we add fractions with the same denominator, all we do is add the numbers and the numerators. So 4 plus 3 is, that's right, 7. So we have our whole number over here, and we have our fraction over here. What do you notice about this fraction that we created? You're right, it's an improper fraction. So we need to use our skills of what we know about how to turn improper fractions into mixed numbers, because again, we don't leave answers as an improper fraction. We need to convert it into a mixed number. So the way we do that is we divide. We could draw a tape diagram to represent 7/5. That 5 tells me the total parts. There's 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. It's 5/5, but I need a total of 7/5, so I'm going to draw another tape diagram. Split into fifths. And we're going to continue counting. 6/5 and 7/5. When we look at our diagram, we're left with 1 whole and 2/5. So 7/5 is equivalent to 1 and 2/5. So we're not done yet. All we did was convert that improper fraction into a mixed number. We still have our whole number over here that we need to combine with this new mixed number to get our final answer. I'm going to do that work up here. So we have 6 plus 1 and 2/5. All we're going to do is combine those whole numbers. It's like another addition problem all over. So we have our whole number is 6 plus 1 is 7, and we're left with a fraction 2/5. And 2/5 cannot be reduced anymore, so our final answer is 7 and 2/5. Okay? Same skills we've practiced in previous lessons, we're just using it or looking at a word problem. Let's look at another example together and do this one with me. So I'm going to read it first, and then we're going to annotate. It says, on Monday, Tiffany spent 5 3/8 hours studying. On Tuesday, she spent another 2 1/8 hours studying. What is the combined length of time she spent studying? So I'm going to go back and annotate my text. I'll use a different color so it sticks out a little bit more. It says, on Monday, Tiffany spent 5 3/8 hours. And that studying is the action. It's what she's doing. On Tuesday, she spent another 2 1/8 hours studying. So Tiffany spent a lot of time studying. Our question we're looking to answer is, what is the combined length of time she spent studying? Okay, so I see that word combined. I know that combine means to put together, so it seems like it's going to be an addition word problem. We're just cross out our question words and we're going to turn this into a title. Combined length of time she spent studying. I'm going to shorten that up and I'm just going to put time studying. That's what we're trying to solve. Underline our title. So time she spent studying. Okay, so now we're going to copy down our information. Over here we have 5 3/8 on Monday and 2 1/8 on Tuesday. We all know the combined are total, so that word tells us that we're going to add. So remember what we do when we add, we're going to break up our whole number and our fractions. So 3/8. 5 plus 3/8 is the same as 5 3/8. And 2 1/8 is the same as 2 plus 1/8. Okay, so we're going to start by combining wholes. We have 5 and 2. Equals 7. So we combined our wholes. Now we're going to combine our fractions. We have 3/8 plus 1/8 common denominator, 8. So all we do is add across the top. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we ended up with the total whole hours and then a part of an hour, and we're going to combine those to get a mixed number. It says she spent a total time of 7 4/8 hours studying, but I noticed that this 4/8 can be reduced into another fraction that's easier to understand. What number or factor do they have in common that we could divide into both numbers to get a smaller number? That's right, we could divide each number by 4. Divide the top by 4 and the bottom by 4. Found a common factor. This whole number just comes right over. We're not doing anything with that. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. The total time she spent studying is 7.5 hours. Label hours. Great. Let's look at another example. This problem says Gwen had 7 1/7 cups of flour. If she used 3 5/7 cups baking, how much flour did she have left? Let's go back and annotate. It says Gwen had 7 1/7 cups of flour. Okay. She used 3 5/7 cups for baking. How much flour did she have left? Okay, so what are we looking to find out? Flour she had left. So that's the title of our problem. And we can just simplify that. Flour left over. Okay, so we're going to start with our information. It says she has 7 1/7 cups of flour to start. She used 3 5/7. How much did she have left? So if you use something, that means it's going away and you're figuring out how much she has left. So you need to use what you know about the words they use in the problem to understand that this problem is asking us to subtract. Okay, now we need to go back and think about our skills for subtracting mixed numbers. We're going to start by separating our whole and our fraction. So 7 1/7 is the same as 7 plus 1/7. I'm going to subtract 3 5/7, which is the same as 3 plus 5/7. When we subtract mixed numbers, we're going to start by subtracting the fraction. Okay, so we have 1/7 minus 5/7. What do you notice about this subtraction problem? That's right, 1 is smaller than 5, so we can't subtract 1 minus 5. So we need to come up to our whole number that we broke up, and we're going to borrow a whole from here We're going to turn it into 6, just like normal subtraction. We're going to turn that whole we borrowed into a fraction. 7/7 is the same as 1 whole. So we're going to combine those before we subtract. So we have 7/7 plus 1/7. That gives us 8/7. And we're going to bring down the rest of our subtraction problem. And now that the bigger number is subtracting the smaller number, we're able to do that. So 8 minus 5 leaves us with 3/7. Great. So we subtracted our fraction. That's our first step. Now we're going to go back and subtract those whole numbers. We made a new whole number over here, but we can still subtract. So we have 6 minus 3 gives us a total of 3. So we're left with 3 and 3/7 cups of flour. Okay, and I see that 3/7 can't be reduced anymore. There's no number that will divide into both of these numbers. So that is our final answer in reduced form with a label. Now it's your turn. I want you to pause the video, read the problem. You're going to write it on your scrap piece of paper so you can mark it up. You're going to do your work. Once you think you've come to an answer, you're going to unpause the video and check to see if your answer matches mine. I'm going to read the problem, then I'll ask you to pause the video. It says Robin bought a bamboo plant that was 9 4/5 feet high. After a month, it had grown another 3 1/5 feet. What is the total height of the plant after a month? Go ahead and pause your video and complete your work and check back in when you're done. Great, let's see what you got. So you should have broken up each mixed number into a whole number and a fraction, and our problem wants to know the total height, so we decided that we should be adding to get the total height. We'll start by adding the wholes. 9 plus 3 gives us a total of 12 as the whole number. Then we're going to go ahead and add our fractions. We have 4/5 and 1/5 gives us a total of 5/5. And when we see a numerator that's the same as the denominator, that's equal to 1 whole. So now we're left with a whole number, 12, and another whole number, 1, and we're just going to combine those, 12 plus 1, to get an answer of 13 feet. Great, let's check back into our target. I can solve fraction and mixed number word problems. If you're able to complete this, then you hit that target. If you were not able to complete it, go back and try some more practice problems on your own. Rewatch the video, take more notes, and then retry this problem on your own. Let's take a quick look at our summary. For word problems, we need to mark up your question. We need to decide whether to add or subtract. And the last step is to reduce your fraction into lowest terms. That concludes today's lesson. You can log on to your Google Classroom and complete your problem set. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.